He is a bear.
You know what smells like America? Gunpowder and potato salad. That's the whole country right there. 250 years, and that's what we got. Happy birthday to us. I had a whole thing planned. I had notes. At some point, I wrote down the word legacy, which tells you where my head was at. And then I thought, nobody wants to feel serious on the 4th of July. That is not what this day is for. You want to watch things explode in the sky. You want to find a sparkler for the kid who won't stop asking. So that's what we're doing. We're celebrating. Right here. Tonight. Welcome to He is a Bear. I'm Bear. I have a guest tonight who I'm genuinely excited about. But first, you and me. Because it is the 4th of July. And it is not just any 4th. 250 years since the Declaration of Independence. A quarter of 1,000 years of this thing called America. That deserves a moment. Here's what hits me about that number. 250 years is a long time for a country. A lot of countries haven't made it. Ancient Greece in its golden age lasted about 300 years before things started breaking apart. Rome went longer, but it had good stretches and bad ones and eventually dissolved into something else. 250 years of this particular bet that regular people could govern themselves without needing a king, that's remarkable. Not in a textbook way. This could have failed 100 different times and didn't weigh. The original version had serious problems, that's true. It took another century to even begin fixing some of them, and a lot of that work is still going. I'm not skipping over that. But 250 years later, the thing is still here, still being argued about, still being fixed sometimes. I think we take that for granted. I read something once. The idea was that democracy isn't a destination, it's something you do every day, like exercise. Skip it long enough and things start going sideways. Because we are a country founded on a disagreement with the way things were. The whole premise was things could be different, and we've spent 250 years arguing about exactly how different. The arguing is exhausting sometimes, it feels like noise, but the arguing is the point. The day we all agree on everything is probably a bad day. Now, the 4th of July itself, not the speech version, not the parade version, the real one, the one that smells like gunpowder and potato salad and operates entirely on its own logic. The logic is, someone lights something, everyone watches, things either go great or very much not great, and either way you walk away with a story. Here's something I've been sitting with. We celebrate our independence from a monarchy breaking from a king, the whole we are done with this moment by setting off fireworks invented in China and mostly made overseas. Nobody thinks that's strange. I don't think it's wrong. I think it might be the most American thing about the holiday. We took something from somewhere else and made it so completely ours that you cannot imagine the 4th without it. That's kind of what we do. Take something, make it yours, light it on fire, and call it freedom. Let me tell you about the best 4th I ever had. I was old enough to know better, had a job, paid taxes, adult by any reasonable measure, and I had a buddy named Garrett, black bear, completely different species, great guy. Garrett had gotten his hands on a quantity of fireworks I'm going to describe as alarming. He drove to a stand just across the state line. You know the ones. Names like Nuclear Sunrise or Wido, Maker 5000. And the guy behind the counter just looks at you like he has made peace with everything. Garrett had a plan. He had a diagram, drew it on a legal pad with a Sharpie, and showed it to me like an actual blueprint. I said, Garrett, is that a stick figure running away from an explosion? He said, that's for reference. That's me. We did not follow the diagram. Nobody follows the diagram on the 4th. The 4th operates differently. Someone lights a thing, everyone watches, and then either it's great or it's chaos. We had both. We had great, and then we had a specific kind of chaos that involved me running across the field in a direction I cannot fully account for. I'm not going into details. We were fine. We had stories. That is the 4th packaged up in one evening. Here's the ritual of it. The 4th has a script. Nobody wrote it down, there's no document, but everybody follows it. Morning, someone in the neighborhood does something loud before it's appropriate. You wake up and think, okay, it's starting. Afternoon, someone volunteers to go get the fireworks in a tone that is not asking, just deciding. They leave. They come back with a bag and you don't ask what's in the bag. That's part of the script. Later, the grill comes out. The folding chairs come out. The cooler shows up with ice and the specific assortment of beverages that mean someone planned this. And then you wait for dark. I should also say, tonight I have a beer instead of whiskey. The fort has its own rules. One of those rules is beer. The whiskey understands. It'll be here tomorrow. Tonight we do this right. I want to tell you about the summer I decided to be responsible about fireworks. I was 24. I had a car payment. I owned a wok, adult by any reasonable definition. And I thought, this year, professional show, big park, actual pyrotechnics company. I brought a blanket. I sat at a respectful distance. I lasted 45 minutes before I figured out the problem. The professional show is too far away. It's happening over there, across the field, above the trees, and over there is not where you feel it. You need it above you. You need to hear the launch. So I drove to a neighborhood I knew had strong amateur operations and parked on a side street and watched fireworks from a stranger's front yard. Nobody said a word. I was just a bear in a folding chair in someone else's neighborhood watching their show. Perfect has always been perfect. The professional show was optimized. Every burst is calculated, every interval timed. There's a musical soundtrack nobody asked for. It is, objectively, a better fireworks display than anything a dad in a parking lot can produce. And it is less good. The dad show was better because it could go wrong, probably will go slightly wrong. You don't know exactly when or how, and that uncertainty is the whole experience. Remove it, and you remove the reason to watch. I've been to 6 countries, and on every 4th of July, I've been away from home. At some point in the evening, I've found myself looking for something exploding in the sky. One year, I was in London. It wasn't the 4th there, obviously, just a Tuesday. I found a fireworks display happening across the city for some event I couldn't identify, and I stood on a bridge alone and watched, and I thought, there it is. That's the thing. Doesn't matter where you are, something in it is home. 250 years. I keep trying to get my head around that number and I can't. Not fully. I can get to 50 years. I can picture 50 years back, 1976, bicentennial, people alive right now were there. I can stretch to 100. But 250, that's before electricity, before trains, before most of the country existed as country. People were alive in 1776 who had never been more than 30 miles from where they were born. And they looked at this thing they were trying to build and said, we think this could work. Regular people, no king. The vote is the power. I think we forget how strange and new that was. And it came close to not working, multiple times. There are specific years where if one thing goes differently, this whole experiment folds. 1777, before France came in. 1814, when the British burned the Capitol. 1864, before Atlanta fell, and Lincoln nearly lost the election. 1929. 1941. I'm not a historian, and you're not here for a history lecture. I'm just saying this thing was not inevitable. Every generation got it handed to them and had to decide whether to pass it on. Most of them did. Imperfect, complicated, but they did. And I think that's what the 4th is really about. Not the speech version, not the parades, the annual decision to say, we're still in. Whatever is broken, whatever we're in the middle of arguing about, we're still in. We still think the bet is worth making. 250 years of people saying that, more or less, some of them meaning it more than others, but enough of them meaning it. And then we light things on fire, which is also correct. You need both. The serious part and the thing that makes everybody stop and go, oh. You can't just have the serious part. That's a lecture. You need the oh. My guest tonight has better stories than I do. He's from Texas, which means he didn't just buy fireworks growing up. He was in the industry. He ran a fireworks stand multiple summers. He knows things. He knows too many things. We're going to talk about America at 250, the 4th on the ground, and something that came up before we started recording, the time he accidentally started a brush fire during what he described as a controlled fireworks exhibition. He used air quotes when he said controlled. Colt, come on in.
Bear, big fan of the show. Good whiskey, good cigar, good subject matter. Already a better Friday than last week.
Ha, no whiskey tonight. Beer. 4th of July rules.
What are you drinking?
It says American lager, which is either exactly right or too on the nose. I went with exactly right.
For the fourth, you drink the thing that says America on it. That's the only correct answer.
What happened last Friday?
Nothing bad, nothing interesting either. You ever have a week where you end up watching 3 episodes of something you don't even like just because it's something? That was last week. This is better.
I know that feeling too well. You're not watching the show, you're just watching the television. There's a difference.
Exactly. I don't even know what I watched. It had people in it. Things happened. That's all I've got.
Ha! The fireworks stand. You ran one.
Ran it. I was the proprietor. Tent, generator, laminated price list. I was a businessman. My uncle had 3 stands across 2 counties, and when I was 16, he looked at me and said, "Colt, are you responsible enough for the Buda location?" I said yes, which was mostly a lie, but I needed the money.
And how responsible did you end up being?
Pretty responsible for a 16-year-old with access to commercial fireworks and no real supervision. I sold a lot of product. I learned a lot about people. You want to know who buys the most fireworks?
Dads.
How did you know?
I have been that dad. My kids think I invented this. I did not invent this.
You can feel it, right? It's a specific thing. They walk up and they're not reading the names on the packaging. They're reading the size. They want the biggest one. The thing the other dads on the block don't have. The 4th of July is a neighborhood arms race. I had a front row seat to it every summer.
Did you ever have a dad who went completely off the rails?
One year I had this artillery shell kit, mortar tube, shells that go 200 feet up and bloom at the top, and word got around that one dad on a specific block had bought one. By that afternoon, 5 dads had come in wanting the same thing. One of them bought 2.
Why two?
He didn't explain. Paid cash, walked to his minivan, drove away. I watched him go and thought, that man has decided the first one is the decoy.
The decoy. He's playing five-dimensional fireworks?
His neighbor called the fire department as a precaution. He considers that a win. And you know what? Correct. That is a win.
If your fireworks show prompts a precautionary fire department call, you did your job.
That is the bar. That is exactly the bar. The names, though. I never got over the names. I'm standing at the tent thinking I'm a professional, and I've got product called Nuclear Sunrise and Devil's Backbone and Screaming Banshee Assortment. These are not names an adult named. These are names from a contest where a 13-year-old won, and customers would read them out loud slowly, tasting them. Devil's Backbone. Long pause. Yeah, that one. I want that one. Nobody asked what it actually does. The name was enough.
Nobody reads the description. They just need the name to feel right.
Not once in 3 summers did a single customer ask what a firework does before buying it. Price? Yes. Size? Yes. What happens when I light it? Never. That's faith. Pure American faith. Light it and find out.
Light it and find out. That's also how we started a country. I had a moment like that once. Well, not exactly like that. I was at a party, 4th of July, and I was supposed to be the responsible adult. Somehow, I got designated the responsible adult. I don't know how that happened because nothing in my history suggests I'm the responsible adult.
Aha. How long did the responsible adult thing last?
About 40 minutes, maybe 35. And in my defense, the thing that ended my responsible adult era was not entirely my fault. Someone had left a box of Roman candles unattended, and I want to say the situation developed organically.
Developed organically. That is the most responsible adult way to describe a situation that I guarantee was not responsible or adult.
The situation involved 4 Roman candles fired simultaneously and a lawn chair that nobody was sitting in. I want to emphasize that part. Nobody was in the chair.
Aha. The chair didn't make it though.
The chair had a good run. It lived a full life. Okay, the brush fire. Walk me through it.
The brush fire is at least partly my fault.
At least partly.
Mostly. Maybe entirely. The controlled exhibition I had planned, and Bear, I want you to know, I had done research. I had watched videos. I had thought seriously about this for weeks.
The videos. That's always where it starts going wrong.
You watch enough fireworks videos, and you start to feel like you understand physics. Like you've absorbed something real. You haven't. You've absorbed confidence, which is completely different and significantly more dangerous.
Peak confidence, minimal competence.
Exactly. So we're at my cousin's property outside Lockhart. Great barbecue town, by the way. Best brisket in Texas. I'll argue with anyone about that. 40 acres of scrubland. And in July in central Texas, scrubland is dry. I knew it was dry. I thought, Colt, this land is very dry. You should be careful. And then I thought, it'll be fine.
Ha, it'll be fine. Written in fire, literally.
I set up the display. Mortars, artillery shells, some ground effects for the kids first. I even drew a safety perimeter in the dirt with my boot.
That counts for something.
I no longer think it does. The first 20 minutes were genuinely beautiful. Family watching, kids losing their minds, my cousin saying, Colt, this is incredible. I'm feeling great. And then I get to the finale.
You always do a finale.
Always. Narrative arc. The finale is the payoff. I had been saving one shell, the Texas Lone Star Super Shell. Pay $45 for it.
Ha, faith in a cardboard tube.
I load it, light it, and it goes UP. This thing had altitude. Everyone looks up and at the top it blooms into the biggest thing I've ever launched and the whole family goes OHHHH and I am feeling like a genius.
The O is everything.
And then there are cascading sparks that are supposed to go out on the way down. They mostly go out. Except one. One small burning piece lands 30 feet away in the scrub. 5 seconds of nothing. I think we're good. And then,
Small orange glow.
very polite at first, and then it found something it liked. At its largest, maybe 50 square feet. We had garden hoses, my cousin had a truck, we handled it. The fire department was not involved. Some neighbors came over, but I think they found it exciting.
Ha, your cousin invite you back?
He has not, and I fully understand that decision. I would not invite me back either.
Ha. What kills me is that you said you did research.
I had done research. That's still the part that gets me. I wasn't unprepared. I was incorrectly prepared, which is worse. If you know you're unprepared, you know the risk. If you've done the research, you feel safe. And that false sense of safety is the most dangerous thing.
What was the state of the yard when it was done?
Brown. Very brown. There was a patch the size of a two-car garage that was just gone. And my cousin is standing there looking at it, and I'm waiting for the yelling, and he just goes, well, that's something. That's the whole response. That's something. Then he went inside and got more beer.
That's something. That might be the most Texas reaction to a brush fire I've ever heard.
He's low maintenance about disasters. His wife had additional thoughts. She was correct on every point. I have no notes on her response. It was proportionate, and I deserved it.
Ha, as it should be. Can I tell you the M80 story?
Aha, you have an M80 story? Please.
This is not my story. I want to be clear. I was a witness. My buddy Carl, different bear, stockier, very bad ideas. He got his hands on an M80 one summer. If you don't know what an M80 is, it's not really a firework. It's a quarter stick of dynamite, basically. It's illegal in most states. Carl had one somehow.
Haha, how old was Carl?
Old enough to know better. That's all I'll say. Now, Carl's neighbor had been doing some bathroom renovations, and there was an old toilet sitting in their backyard, not connected to anything, just an old porcelain toilet sitting in the grass waiting for trash pickup.
Oh no.
Carl looked at the M80. Carl looked at the toilet. Carl did not say a single word to me. He did not have to. Some ideas communicate themselves without language.
Haha, the toilet called to him.
The toilet absolutely called to him. He put the M80 in the bowl, lit the fuse, and we ran. And Colt, I want you to understand the sound that toilet made when it went.
Haha, how bad?
It did not break. It disintegrated. There was porcelain in the neighbor's yard on the other side of the fence. There was a piece on the roof. I personally found a chunk of that toilet 4 days later, embedded 6 feet up in a tree,
Ah, in the tree.
like it had always been there, like the tree grew around it.
Haha. What did his parents say?
The toilet was already being thrown away, so technically nothing of value was destroyed. Carl's argument, which he made with a completely straight face, was that he had expedited the disposal process.
Haha, he was helping.
He was being helpful. His parents did not see it that way. But the toilet was gone, so what were they really going to do?
I respect that. There's a logic there. Twisted, illegal logic, but it tracks.
Okay, shooting fireworks at people. I know you have something.
First, I do not endorse shooting fireworks at people. Official position.
Noted.
Unofficially. There is a specific kind of bottle rocket exchange that happens between people who trust each other deeply, where it's less shooting at and more playing a chaotic game where everyone has accepted there are no rules.
No rules. No helmets.
No helmets, no strategy. The strategy is run and launch at the same time, and somehow nobody ever gets hurt. Near misses everywhere, yelling everywhere, but everyone walks away every single time.
That is the insane part.
I knew a guy in high school, Darnell. Good guy, brave soul. Darnell caught a bottle rocket in the back pocket of his jeans, right in the pocket. The pocket lit on fire.
And
He's fine, completely fine. He knocked it out without breaking stride, swatted at his own back pocket mid-sprint, and kept going. I've thought about that a lot over the years. That is a man who understood the game and was not going to let a small pants fire interrupt it.
ha, were you the one who shot it at him?
It came from the other direction.
Ha, but there are things you did.
There are things I did that I'm not specifying because there's no statute of limitations on embarrassment. What I will say, my older brother treated bottle rockets like a serious hobby. He had theories. Wind direction, launch angle, he could bank one off a tree, not consistently, but sometimes. And when he did it, I was in complete awe. I spent years trying to figure it out. Never got it. Some gifts cannot be learned.
I had a sparkler incident one year that I still think about. I was trying to be cool about it. Everyone's watching. There's a little kid next to me. I'm holding the sparkler very calmly like I do this all the time. And then I can't get the match lit because there's a breeze.
Haha, the breeze. The breeze is the enemy.
I went through 11 matches. 11. The little kid is just watching me with this completely neutral expression, no judgment, but also clearly aware that something is going wrong. I eventually got it lit and held the sparkler up like I had just won something, and the kid looked at the sparkler and looked at me and walked away.
Haha, the kid walked away.
Just walked away. I gave 11 matches of effort and got no reaction whatsoever. That kid is probably fine.
Haha, the sparkler audience is a brutal crowd.
What did your family actually do on the 4th growing up? Walk me through the whole day.
My mom made potato salad at 7 in the morning, every year. Started at 7, done by 8:30. Then it sat there being potato salad for the rest of the day in Texas heat, and it was somehow perfect at 4 in the afternoon. I tried to replicate this. It is not possible. She knew something that didn't transfer.
Potato salad operates on rules we don't have access to.
My dad had charcoal opinions. Specific, serious, non-negotiable opinions about charcoal. The brand mattered. The arrangement in the grill mattered. He could look at a pile of charcoal and tell you to the minute how long before it was ready to cook on. He passed this to me without my permission. I now have charcoal opinions, and I'm not happy about it.
Ha, the charcoal inheritance. It just happens.
I was explaining to someone at a cookout that they needed 4 more minutes before putting the burgers on, and I heard my dad's voice coming out of my mouth, mid-sentence. I stopped and just stood there. It got me. The charcoal opinions got me.
My family had a rule. Everyone in the driveway by dark. Didn't matter what you were doing, what was going on. 9 o'clock, driveway, folding chairs. My dad handled the fireworks. My mom brought whatever was left from dinner. We'd sit there in the dark and watch whatever was happening. Our stuff, the neighbor's stuff, the park show a mile away, barely visible over the roofline. Maybe 90 minutes. Nobody was on a phone because there were no phones. Just us and the sky.
That's the version I want.
We don't do it anymore. Everyone's got their own cities now, their own kids, their own driveways. But I can still picture what my dad looked like watching a firework go up. That specific expression. You know the one.
Yeah, I know that one.
Did your family have any weird traditions? Things that were just yours?
My Uncle Danny, every year he built something. He called it the apparatus. Launching platform, PVC pipe, duct tape, always described to us as engineered. It tipped over sideways every year around the 4-minute mark and sent a mortar somewhere unplanned. Year 1, the fence. Year 2, the Henderson's yard. Year 3, straight up but spinning, which was actually impressive. He kept coming back with a new version, same design flaw, same result.
Ha, he kept building the apparatus.
6 years. By year 3, we were looking forward to the apparatus failing more than we were looking forward to anything else about the fourth. Danny knew it. The last year, he tipped it himself at the 3-minute mark, grabbed the side, looked at us, tipped it over on purpose. Took a bow. We cheered. He retired. The apparatus right there. Never built another one.
Undefeated.
0 wins, 6 losses, retired on top. He's very zen about the whole thing.
Can I be honest about something? I think I'm aging out of fireworks.
What do you mean?
My kids are older now. They don't stop cold for fireworks the way they used to. The dog has hated them for years, which I feel bad about, but she's also not subtle about it. She starts hiding in the bathroom on July 1st, and I find myself standing there to show thinking, I've seen this exact firework. The chrysanthemum, the willow, the color change, the big boom at the end. I know the whole sequence. I know what's coming.
The magic went somewhere.
The magic went somewhere, and I don't know where it went. And that bothers me, because when I was a kid, a firework could stop me completely. I'd stand there with my mouth open like I'd never seen fire before. Now I'm in the field going, yep, that's a firework. That's a firework doing firework things. Good job, firework.
You need something that actually surprises you.
I genuinely don't know what that is anymore. You can't really reinvent the firework. It explodes and it makes pretty colors. That's the whole concept. There's nowhere left to go.
Drones.
The drone shows,
Have you seen one live?
no. On video, they look like a screensaver to me.
On video, they do look like a screensaver. I saw one in person last year in Austin. Bear, it's different. 100 drones moving together, spelling things out, making shapes. And there's this moment where they form a giant American flag that just hangs in the sky above you and holds there for 30 seconds without making a sound. And I felt it. The thing I hadn't felt from fireworks in years.
The O came back.
The O came back. Because your brain knows those are machines up there. It knows. And it still doesn't know what to do with what it's seeing. It's strange in a way that gets to you.
So the trick is novelty. Once you've seen 10,000 fireworks, your brain already knows the script. But you've never seen 100 drones write something in the sky above your head.
You haven't seen it yet, so you don't know how it ends. That's the whole thing. That's where the magic actually lives.
Completely. Okay. Completely different subject for a second. What's your 4th of July movie?
Like a movie I watch on the 4th?
The 4th of July movie. The one that feels right.
Born on the 4th of July.
That's your pick.
It's literally in the title. Also, Tom Cruise in that movie is genuinely incredible. He commits completely. Whatever you think about Tom Cruise as a person, when that man commits to a role, he goes all the way in.
Tom Cruise commits. That is just a fact. That is not a controversial opinion. The man has been falling off buildings and out of planes for 40 years because he commits.
Born on the 4th of July is also such a weird choice as a 4th of July movie because it's not a feel-good movie at all. It's about the cost of war and what happens to people who come home and the gap between what the country promises and what it delivers. It's heavy.
That's actually a very honest pick for the 250th, though. Like, the 4th isn't just fireworks and potato salad. It's also the thing where we look at ourselves and ask if we're living up to what we said we were.
That's more thoughtful than my reason. My reason was, it's called Born on the 4th of July. What's yours?
Ha, The Sandlot.
Haha, that's not a 4th of July movie.
There is a 4th of July scene in that movie. Fireworks. Summer. Kids doing things that are objectively stupid and having the best time of their lives. That I is the 4th.
I mean, you're not wrong. The Sandlot is very much a summer America feeling movie. The whole thing is about a specific kind of American childhood that I think a lot of people recognize even if they didn't live it.
Right, you didn't have to play baseball in the Sandlot in 1962 to feel what that movie is doing. There's something in it that's just summer, America, doing stuff.
Okay, but you have to say Independence Day.
Ha, the Bill Pullman speech.
That speech.
That man walks out of a tent in the desert to give a speech before a battle with aliens, and I am fully invested every single time. Every time. I know what's going to happen. I've seen it 20 times. Does not matter.
We will not go quietly into the night. Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
It gets me. Every single time it gets me. It's a ridiculous movie with aliens blowing up the White House and Will Smith punching an extraterrestrial in the face, and somehow that speech lands like it's Lincoln.
If Bill Pullman showed up at a 4th of July fireworks show and gave that speech before they started the display, I would lose my mind completely.
I would stand up. I'm standing up right now just thinking about it.
Everybody's standing in a parking lot. Bill Pullman walks out, starts talking about mankind, and then the first firework goes up.
Perfect. That's a perfect event. Someone make that happen.
Texas 4th and wherever you grew up. 4th are the same holiday in name only.
Explain.
Texas in July is 104 degrees. You are outside the entire day. Nobody thinks this is unusual. You sweat, you eat, you sweat more, and at night it's still 90, and you're in a field with your people watching things explode, and this is just Tuesday. Outside is where you live in Texas summer. You adapt or you don't come back.
Midwest 4th is the same, except replace the heat with humidity you can feel on your skin like a wet blanket. We also go outside. We also say this is fine. I don't know what's wrong with either of us.
Midwest lawns are different too. Flat, green, they go on. Texas is dirt and scrub and cedar, which is relevant to the brush fire situation. The scrub is the variable. I want that on the record.
Ha. The scrub is on the record.
Thank you. I've needed that acknowledged.
Someone out there started.
They never wait for the day. 3 days before, 3 days after, someone in every neighborhood is just going for it.
My neighbor one year, and I don't want to know where he got what he had, was setting things off until 2 in the morning. Things that set off car alarms.
Those are the good ones though.
That's what I couldn't decide. I was annoyed, I needed to sleep, but those were also genuinely impressive. I kept getting up to look out the window and then going back to bed angry at myself for looking.
Fireworks override better judgment every time. Your brain says sleep and your eyes say, but look at THA that one.
What is it about being in a crowd for fireworks? I've been to stadium shows, big organized events. I've been in a high school parking lot. The parking lot is better every single time.
Scale is wrong at the stadium show. Show's happening over there, across the field, above the scoreboard. You're watching it over there. The parking lot version, the show is right above you. You have to tilt your head back. Smoke comes down to you. You hear the launch before you see the burst.
The launch sound, the thump, and the rising whistle before the bloom. That's the underrated part of the whole experience.
And the gap, that half second between the launch and the burst where nobody knows exactly where to look. Everyone's scanning a slightly different spot in the sky. And then, there. Everyone finds it at slightly different times. And then, that collective that nobody planned.
You just described the whole thing in 4 sentences, and I've been trying to explain it my whole life. You saw a lot of people come through your stand right before the 4th. What does it actually feel like? The real 4th, not the official version.
The first thing is the smell. Gunpowder, charcoal, sunscreen, beer. That combination only exists on the 4th. You smelled it in November, you'd feel weirdly patriotic. It's a trigger. Flips people out of thinking mode into something else. Even the uptight ones let go a little.
Why do you think that is?
Permission. There are very few days in the year where you're just allowed to be publicly joyful for no personal reason. Christmas has the family pressure and the religion attached to it. Thanksgiving, you spend half the meal avoiding one specific conversation. The 4th? You just show up. You can stand in a parking lot with a beer and watch something go boom, and that is a complete, sufficient celebration.
That's it. That right there. Stand in a parking lot with a beer and watch something go boom, and that's enough. That is America.
That's my whole thesis. One sentence.
What did you actually eat out there at the stand? 3 summers in Texas, July, you had to eat something.
I had to deal with the hot dog cart 2 stands down. She gave me food. I directed customers her way when they asked where to eat. My first business partnership. I was 16. The hot dogs were good. It is still the most efficient arrangement I've ever been part of.
Hot dog is the correct 4th food. I will die on this. The hot dog is a decision already made for you. You don't choose. You eat the hot dog.
The hot dog has no pretension left. The burger has a whole situation now. Brioche bun, Wagyu, someone put an egg on it. Hot dog is just, here's a hot dog. It knows what it is, and it's at peace with that.
The hot dog achieved something and stopped trying. That's enlightenment.
That is the most bear sentence you've said tonight, and you said a lot of bear sentences.
Something I keep coming back to. I said a version of this in the monologue, but it's still bugging me. We didn't invent fireworks. China invented fireworks. And we took the concept and went so far with it that if you say 4th of July to anyone alive on this planet, they picture fireworks, not a speech, not a parade, fireworks. We didn't just adopt it, we colonized the concept.
Haha, that is the move though.
It's the whole move, and we're not even subtle about it. We light the Chinese invention on fire to celebrate being free from the British, on purpose, every year, bold as anything.
Haha, and one of them starts a small brush fire.
And one of them starts a small brush fire. You were participating in a tradition.
I was part of something larger than myself. This is healing for me.
What did you see out there at the stand? Full range of customers?
The full range. Families genuinely happy to be together. The dad who clearly got out of the house just to buy fireworks and is not in a hurry to go back. Kids who've never held a sparkler looking at everything like you've opened a door. And couples having the exact same argument about how much money is too much to spend on explosives.
The budget argument.
We said $50. This is $60, but look at it. Both of them know how it ends. It ends with $60 of fireworks and everyone forgiving each other because the show was worth it. And I had one woman, this was the third summer, she came up to my stand and she said no thank you before I even opened my mouth. And then she stood at the table for 45 minutes looking at everything.
Huh, she wasn't buying.
She was not buying. She was very clear about that. But she was also extremely interested in everything. She asked me questions about the artillery shells, the fountains, the smoke bombs, all of it. Very detailed questions. I answered them all. And at the end, she said, very informative, thank you, and left.
Huh, and never came back.
She came back the next day and bought $120 of fireworks and said nothing about the day before. We both just pretended the conversation had never happened.
Huh, she needed a day to process.
She needed to go home and think about it and come to terms with the fact that she was going to buy fireworks. We've all been there.
Let me ask you something a little more serious. 250 years. Big celebrations all over the country this year. Philadelphia, Washington, every small town doing their thing. What does it actually mean to you that we're here?
It means the bet didn't lose. Is that too simple?
No. Say more. Say more.
Honestly, I keep thinking about the customers. 3 summers, thousands of people through that tent, old ranchers, young families. A woman in her 50s who'd just become a citizen. She bought $200 of fireworks and was crying at the register. I didn't know what to say, so I just bagged everything up. Different politics, different everything, but they all wanted to do the same thing on the same night.
No, that's honest.
That's what 250 years means to me. Not the Declaration, not the textbook, just whatever this country is, however broken some of it is. There's still this one night every year where everybody goes outside and looks up at the same sky. A woman crying at a fireworks stand in Buda, Texas? That's not nothing. You can't manufacture that.
What I keep coming back to is the fireworks themselves. They're chaotic. You plan as carefully as you can, and then something unexpected happens. Sometimes they're spectacular. Sometimes something goes sideways and there's a brush fire, and somehow they're beautiful anyway. Maybe because of the chaos.
Haha, I feel like that's still partially about me.
Little bit, but also just true. The best fireworks moment is never the one you planned perfectly. It's the one that surprised you.
You just compared American democracy to an accidental brush fire, and I'm not sure whether to be offended or moved.
Ha, be moved. The brush fire was worth it.
The brush fire was worth it. You know what I love most about the 4th? It's one of the few days where people go outside. You drive through any neighborhood and the doors are open. Strangers are talking. You actually see your neighbors.
The front yard version of America.
And watching fireworks with strangers is intimate in a strange way. You're all looking at the same thing at the same time. That collective, oh, when the big one goes off. 30 strangers making the same sound because they all saw the same thing. Nobody planned that. It just happens.
250 years of collective, oh.
Some of those O's were on the moon. Some were at baseball games. Some were watching terrible things happen that we somehow got through. All of it.
Yeah. You know what I keep coming back to with 250 specifically? The people who signed the Declaration in 1776 knew what they were putting their names on. Franklin was 70 years old. 70. He had already had a full life. Internationally famous, respected everywhere. And he looked at what they were building and said, yes, I'm in. That's the bet I want to make with what's left.
And then he went to France and basically personally talked them into helping us win, which is its own unbelievable story.
The point is, the people who started this weren't optimistic because things were going well. They were optimistic while things were very difficult, and they did it anyway. I find that useful on days when it's hard to be optimistic about anything.
What do you think is actually good about America? Not it survived, not it's big, something you genuinely defend.
The permission to start over. I know that sounds like a bumper sticker, but I mean it practically. People came here specifically because they heard the story of what was possible and believed it. Some of them were right. Not all of them, not equally, and there's a long accounting still happening about who got access to the promise and who didn't. But the story kept pulling people in for 250 years. Stories that aren't true don't do that for that long.
250 years later, still arguing about it, still making potato salad, still pointing fireworks at each other's yards. Same bet, still running.
Same bet, still running.
Happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday. Okay, final round, fast answers. Hot dog or burger?
Hot dog, no hesitation. A burger requires decisions. Hot dog you grab and go. The hot dog is freedom.
Best firework?
The chrysanthemum, big round bloom that opens perfect and fades out slow. Classic, correct, no notes.
Most dangerous thing you personally did with a firework? One sentence.
I lit one while already running, threw it before the fuse ran out, and I'm leaving the rest to your imagination.
Best place in America to watch fireworks?
A field outside a small town with about 30 people you know. Not a big stadium show, just you, your people, and the sky.
4th of July movie?
Born on the 4th of July. Non-negotiable.
Ha! The Sandlot, and I Will Die on That Hill.
Haha. Independence Day.
Ha! Independence Day, mandatory. Historical American you'd want to drink with?
Benjamin Franklin. That man knew things he never wrote down. I want to find out what they were.
If America were a firework, what is it?
The one that goes up sideways, scares everyone, and then does something at the top that nobody expected and everybody forgets to be scared.
Yeah, that tracks. 250 years from now. 2276. Is America still here?
Yeah, different in ways neither of us can picture. But yeah, we're too stubborn to quit.
I like that answer. Colt, thank you. This was everything.
Thank you for having me. Happy 4th. Happy 250, even to the parts of the country still figuring themselves out.
Especially those parts. For everyone listening, happy 4th of July. Happy 250. Go outside tonight. Find some fireworks. Find some people. Don't check your phone. Don't think about whatever's been grinding at you all week. Just look up. The O is worth it. It has always been worth it. I'm Bear. This is He is a Bear. Find us wherever you listen. If you like what we're doing, tell someone. Word of mouth is everything for a show like this. And please, for the love of everything, do not put an M80 in a toilet. Do not try to bank a bottle rocket off a tree. Do not run a controlled fireworks exhibition in a dry field in Texas in July. Learn from our mistakes. Remade them so you wouldn't have to. Yeah, that's about right. Good night.
He is a bear.